Hello everyone, Dave O'Hara, about Redlands, Realty and Loan. So we put these bi-weekly videos together in order to answer a few of your questions and to help keep you informed of something that maybe you hadn't been thinking about or that you're seeing on the news that may not be the full story, kind of like our last one we were talking about median home price and how so many above that margin had really sold as opposed to the ones below the margin, and that's what skewed the appreciation level from up to 17%, which is not possible. I guess it's possible, but trust me, it didn't happen. 6.77% is the average, and that's what we're going with. So, yeah, we like to put these items together and present them to you. So you can always find us at aboutredlandsrealty.com, and you can shoot us a message and we'll be happy to answer your questions and do some more research for you. So today, 3 topics, of course. Affordability is one of them. Now, affordability is made up of wages and interest rates. Before we start going into those 2 aspects, it's important to note that actual appreciation that we had just spoken about, actual appreciation of, let's say, a $500,000 house at 7%, we'll make it simple numbers. 6.77 is actually the 40-year average of appreciation. But if we go at 7%, because of easy math, $500,000 house, 7%, that's $35,000 appreciation. So is it more difficult to buy a house now than it was a year ago? Well, actually, a $500,000 house would be principal and interest payment of about $2,100. And the payment on a $535,000 house would be about $2,250, or an increase of about $150,000. So now that we know that, let's look at interest rates. Now, interest rates are actually 1% better year over year than they were just a year ago. So interest rates are fantastic. And as everybody knows, and you see on the news, they're somewhere in the 2s. 2.75 is probably a pretty good round number to think about. Always does depend on credit score, loan to value, DTI, those kinds of things, what the purpose is, and the owner occupancy, whether it's owner occupied or investment, second home. Worry about that when we actually get the file open. In any case, wages is what we want to talk about now, because that kind of rounds out the affordability equation. Wages are calculated best as weekly wages, not hourly. You'll see on the news often hourly wages are down by that people work less hours, they work more hours, they work overtime, they work part-time. It's not a good measurement to go hourly, but weekly is much better. Weekly wages year over year up 5.5%. So let's say you make $5,000 a month in order to afford this $500,000 house, so was our example earlier. You make $5,000 a month and your wages go up by 5.5%. You're going to be making an additional $275 a month. But as we already illustrated in the payments for a $500,000 house that moved to $535,000, the payment only went up by $150, but you're making an extra $275. So surely it's more affordable. Not to mention the fact that we just spoke about year over year, interest rates are down by 1%. That helps tremendously. So it's actually more affordable now to buy a house than it was a year ago. And if you had bought a year ago, you could certainly refinance if you chose to. But that's in reference to the affordability. And the affordability is actually the 7th best affordability duration or time on record. The 7th best. So fantastic opportunity. Nextly, APR, annual percentage rate. The APR is wildly misunderstood and wildly misrepresented. It's pretty difficult to actually calculate APR up front. You can do it at the end pretty well, but up front, they're taking all the expenses of obtaining that loan, taking all those expenses and putting it into that amortization for that term of loan. So if it's a 30-year loan, they're going to add in the expense of title, escrow, appraisal, home inspection, perhaps if it's purchased. Going to put all that in as an expense, and then that is then going to extrapolate out an annual percentage rate, not to be confused with your actual interest rate. Your APR is always going to be higher because those are adding in additional expenses than your actual interest rate. So And is it possible for it to be the same number? Sure, if you have no expenses. Pretty rare. People like to eat. People like to get paid. So generally, they're all going to be a separate fee that goes into closing costs, which can be financed, but it doesn't matter if it's financed or paid cash at closing. That's still calculated into your APR. So got that going for you. Lastly, real estate as an investment. So 25, 30 years ago, I was reading a series of investment books, and I remember him saying, an investment isn't an investment unless it puts money in your pocket. Now that might ring true for many of you, but I would like to go with simple math and say that A, you have to have a roof over your head somewhere anyway, so you got to pay for that. So if you're paying for it, might as well make it an investment that perhaps will put money in your pocket later, but certainly better than simply paying for 30 days of shelter. So if you have a $100,000 house that goes up by a modest 4%, that's $4,000 a year. And let's say you put 10% down, which you don't have to put that much down, but let's say you put 10% down, 10% of the $100,000 purchase, that's 10 grand. And it went up by $4,000. So 4,000 divided by 10,000, that's 40% increase. So you just had a 40% return on investment. Where can you get that? Anywhere. Boom. I think real estate, even if it's your primary residence or your second home, is still a great investment. Just wanted to point that out. Okay, so that's it for today. I appreciate you attending. And hey, if you like this, please, smash the thumbs up button. Feel free to share, subscribe, follow. And if you have questions, please feel free to let us know at aboutredlandsrealty.com, or there's a link in the description below. All right, have a fantastic day.